Hello, hello. Let me try not to shake the camera. Let me move you guys away a little bit. All right, we're going to do a more detailed foot blast. I've been on the tennis courts for about 10 hours this week, so my feet and my knees are slightly inflamed, nowhere near what it would have been, a year and a half ago. So, what I'm doing, I am taking extra doses of my BioCell. I'm just going to go ahead and take one now. Dry brushing. I'm going to ice my feet after this. I did some stretching and footwork on my little half moon Bosus. I've got a tennis ball right here in front of me. I'm going to use that so I can just get a little more flexion on my foot. And I also don't care if it gets oily. I have hundreds of them. So for the foot, you always want to make sure you do the top and the bottom. Why is my oil not open? What's happening here right now? There we go. So you can use any small claw tool. I still think the Face Blaster is just one of the easiest ones. So you can use all three claws or you can tip it and use one. I'm just going to start at the toes. Because I am a little tender right now, I'm going to keep this quick. I'm going to keep it light. Each toe right between it, working my way straight up the foot because we have the tendons and ligaments and little bones in there that run all the way up. So I'm just following each line, heading up. Even the poor little pinky toe. Whole top of the foot. Right now, this tennis ball is giving me some nice pressure in the plantar fascia because being on the courts and running, my feet have just kind of been impacting the ground so much that the pulling back and the falling over the ball just feels like a nice release. So I'm going to take it along inside portion of the foot here. When I do my heel, I go along the edges around the back of the ankle, around the ankle bone, but I don't really do too much right here because this is a fat pad at the end of the day. And as we know, blasting can spot reduce fat, and I don't necessarily want to remove too much of the fat off of my heel because that is my cushion for impact, and I don't want things like heel spurs or anything like that. So I just kind of leave that area alone. I go along the side, back, and I'll go up the Achilles in the back, and then I will follow the same type of approach on the bottom of the foot. The plantar fascia starts narrow and it fans out up towards the top, and it's the whole center of the foot. My feet are pretty flat, so this is one where I try not to stretch my feet too much because I don't necessarily want to stretch out my plantar fascia more, but it does need to be massaged. And again, I just kind of stop right before where the obvious pad of my heel is. Follow the foot, and then I'm going to come up each toe. You can also use the OMG single claw. You can use the little bunny ear, any small claw tool really. Sometimes when I'm feeling exceptionally lazy, I will just take my paddle blaster, lay it on the ground, oil my feet up, and just run them over the top of it. I'm gonna tip just a little bit, go a little bit deeper in the arch of my foot. Now again, stretching out the top, going up to the ankle. Keeping this a little bit light, just because I'm already a little puffy and tender. Now I'm going to kind of tip my foot to the side and do the same thing on the outer edge of the foot. Around the ankle bone. I am going a little bit deeper around the side of the ankle here, around the ankle bone, along the edge. I splay my toes out, I put them forward, and I try to move them up and down and around as much as I can to just expose all the little tendons and bones and ligaments, and just try to blast in between, around, and on as much as I can. I'm going to take my mini 2. You can also take a nugget. I'm going to use the finer point, and I'm just going to do a light poke and wiggle in between each toe. And then I'm going to lift. I'm going to try just the big toe. I'm going to try to put the big toe down and do the little toes. Down, big toe. Just kind of manipulate around it. Onto the next toe. Big toe up. Little toes up. Give it a little wiggle, a little spread. Next. It's really hard to independently kind of move your toes. That one's a fun challenge. Try it out. There we go. That one's a little tender in there. And then I can already see some of the swelling kind of coming out of my foot. I can see where the little bones are. I am just going to very gently crayon along the side. I'm doing like next to no pressure here, along what looks like a duck foot, where you can just see all the little bones and tendons that come straight up from your toe. I'm just coloring along the edge and in between each one. Each one kind of forms a triangle, so I'm making sure I go along each side of it. I'm going to do a little bit more pressure right here at my ankle, a little bit more of a scoop. And don't forget coming along the outside of the big toe. And then I'm going to take this and I'm going to go around each ankle bone. Just kind of coloring, tracing along the edges. Fascia adhesions like to hide in these little nooks and crannies, so it's always a good idea to take a nugget and just kind of color around. You don't have to dig or do anything too crazy. Use the large claw along the side. I've got it. Gently on the top. Large claw on the inner. And then on the bottom of my foot. It's a little tender spot in there. And then other side of the ankle, around the ankle bone. As soon as I'm done, I'm going to go ice my poor little feet and knees, and then they are resting all weekend. I was supposed to have a tennis match tonight, but the people we were playing canceled, so it gives me the break that I needed. And then I can just take and roll this tennis ball, alternating with toes up, toes down, and just kind of massage at different angles on that plantar fascia. And then of course you always want to flush it out, help get that fluid moving. And now I'm going to do the exact same thing on the other foot. Y'all have a good weekend.